morning, everyone. Welcome to webinar by FluentPro. Manage Microsoft Project Online, backup and restore like a pro. Today we'll talk about disaster recovery policies for Microsoft Project Online and how this can be implemented with product from FluentPro called FluentPro G suite. Our company, FluentPro Software Corporation, is Microsoft Gold partner. We specialize on the PPM. We help companies implement and improve their management practices with Microsoft Project Line and Microsoft Project Server. Our primary focus is developing software products for managing Microsoft Project Online, and that includes management, migration, business intelligence, and data visualization integrations for Microsoft PPM platform. We have several lines of products available, and today we'll focus on our major line called FluentPro Governance Administration, or GA Suite, and that's solution for backup and restore. So today we'll explain what is a backup and why you need to be worried about the disaster recovery and restore. And we'll describe why we need that, how this can be solved, and what exactly can be done with our solutions. In most cases, there is like very little chance for technical loss of data, but at the same time, companies still under this that feeling of trust to IT systems. Many companies still underestimate the impact of data loss and that impact it can be direct or indirect in productivity, in delays. And what we found, and if you talk in regards to project management space, if you talk in regards to Microsoft Project and Microsoft Project Online, is that the biggest loss that you can experience is definitely some loss of your SharePoint data, but loss of schedule. And in order, if schedule gets corrupted or schedule gets overwritten, some tasks get deleted. Maybe it's not a big deal for project with 50 lines, but when your schedule has hundreds of resources and has hundreds of thousands of lines, it becomes a true disaster, and it takes significant efforts for entire team and not just for single project manager to restore it from local copies, making sure that everything is correct. So the time spent for such cases is humongous, and companies do not take this into account. Even more, the typical data loss that companies relies on this when we talk about the project management, it's mostly a human error. Someone just went and pressed delete on collapsed summary task. Task will be deleted, schedule rescheduled. So it's mostly human error, typo, deleting some information, deleting project, rewriting some information, restoring the old copy from MPP file, dragging, dropping the data. So it's in 80% cases, it's related to single project. Second type of error that can be but again, like it's a human error when, for example, admin does some cleanup and maybe delete some projects in PWA. So definitely it's all related by training, but still such errors are happening from time to time in organization, and impact of such errors is huge. When we talk to companies who use Project Online and we ask them, do you have any disaster recovery plans? Do you have any process? Do you have any procedures in place? Companies say no, and majority of companies, they don't have such procedures. Microsoft provides the restore features but it provides that feature on site collection level. It means that site collection is your entire PWA. And if you have 1,000 projects, Microsoft can restore, or in 100 projects, Microsoft can restore, for example, for a couple days back, your state of your project, state of your PWA, entire PWA to that date in the past. So and it means that sometimes it's a no go, because like if you just need to restore one project, but you have as a result the hundreds of projects will be restored. Usually, like you simply say no and trying to do everything possible manually to restore that affected project. And in addition, there is a huge time to wait because Microsoft engineers need to engage, research, find backups, restore them, moves data. So it takes time. It's not that quick. So you have to, organizations have to wait for that. If we talk about what kind of a data need to be backed up and what kind of level of protection you need for your data, first of all, definitely it's schedules. It's your entire schedule in Project Online with all the projects, with all the tasks, with all the custom fields on the project level and task level, uh, all the data that you need to protect. Uh, we find that companies extend their configuration with critical information, with indicators, with additional attributes that track on the task on both task level, project level, and loss of that information. It's also critical. Project sites, as well as a very important element. We find that companies more and more use the project sites to store all the documents. We have just provide some statistics. We have customers who have hundreds of documents stored on project site. We have we face some projects sites that store gigabytes of documents and graphics and information and presentation videos on the site. So a loss of that information, deleting of those documents, attachments, it's also critical, and that information needs to be protected. So one of the features that not many people think about is the protection and backup of timesheets. Uh, Companies rely on the timesheet, and I will show one of the case later that how the error was restored with our solution in timesheets. But backing up timesheets, just a point of reference. It's also like critical because timesheets are used to make many business decisions about the progress, about the costs, about forecasting, about the plan. So it's also a critical piece of information, and G Suite supports it. We talk about the backup. What is the backup in terms of G Suite? So we take a snapshot of that information and write it in our database in G Suite, and that is hosted in Microsoft Azure. Depending on scenario, we support shared environments where each customer still has a separate database, but it's like in a cloud shared information, like any type of service you use, like Project Online and SharePoint and anything. But we also provide the dedicated instances. In this case, your data is completely isolated, but still a principle how our backup is the same. Like all the data for all the backups are written to a specific database that is hosted in Microsoft Azure. What we recommend to start is to prepare your PWA and optimize it. And we recommend customers to do it with some frequency, like monthly, quarterly. And we call this process archival. So our recommendation is to provision the separate PWA. It's an archival PWA. And from time to time, move completed project or old projects to that PWA. It's a complete move, so we'll do the full copy of your project, but it is available in that archival PWA. You can run reports on that data. You can query, you can see open site, you can see all that information. You don't need to do any additional step. You don't need to restore anything from backup. So that's one of the big differences with archival versus backup. Archival, it's a copy that is available to you. You can connect Power BI and run reports on the data, see schedule, query anything. The reason for doing that, first of all, you optimize your PWA. you remove some extra data, you reduce the amount of data used for reporting. Let's be frank, like if the if project was completed 2 years ago, it's very low chances that you will need to run any reports on it or get the schedule. But if you need to, there's a place that where you can go and run those reports and get that information. In G Suite, when we do archival, we do not delete your data. Your project admin needs to go and delete that information from your production file. We just make a snapshot and say, okay, this project is archived. You can go and delete this project on the production PWA. If you talk about flow, as I mentioned, typical flow is that you use G Suite, you have archival PWA, you have your one or multiple production PWAs. Maybe it's per department, or if you have the enterprise level PWA, it can be just one. So we support multiple, all the different scenarios. And on the backend, FluentPro G Suite, it runs in Azure, and it stores all the data in specific in database that is hosted in Azure as well. If we talk about what to backup and how often to backup, is definitely recommend that initially when you deploy solutions that you do archival of all completed projects. Just decide on the date. It can be 6 months old projects. It can be 1 year old, 2 year. It's up to your organization to decide what the criteria for archival, but you can have and we recommend to do that initial archive. Then initially perform initial backup of all open projects. So pretty much every single that you have in the database in your PWA, make a backup, store it in G Suite. It's a initial point, the very first data point that you will have, and then monthly, weekly, and daily you can schedule automatic backups, and we'll show that in our demo, where you can backup your monthly. For example, recommend maybe you don't need to backup open projects or backup all the projects. Maybe weekly backup just completed project or projects in progress, and daily modify everything that was changed during the last 24 hours. So you can configure all those different schedules to make sure that you have full coverage of your reports, that all your data is protected. And in G Suite, in addition, we have some reports. We use Power BI for reporting, that you can see the coverage, how well is your data is protected in G Suite, how old the backup, lifetime for backup, how many backups you have for projects. So all that information is available for reporting upon analysis. So, and we recommend to analyze that information, use that information from time to time to make sure that you have full coverage for your projects and you're protected from any data loss scenarios. One of the recent cases that we had, and I wanted to explain today. We had one customer recently that reported an issue that they found when they were running some reports for cost-based report. They found that there is a difference compared to previous months in actual costs, and the result was that some actual time was missing, and actually the timesheets were missed. So by comparing all that information, customer was able to identify that it resulted that some tasks were deleted from several projects, and that resulted in corrupted data differences. Very quickly, those projects were identified, and projects were restored. We have an option to restore project as a copy from PWA without overwriting. And project manager made very small change, restored the original project, restored those tasks, and all that situation was fixed quite rapidly in a matter of couple of days. And it was identified. The only way to identify was to have those copies of those projects, identify the time when it happened, and that was done. That was done, and like customer resolves the problem very quickly. Okay, now what we'll do is I will transfer control to my colleague Gennady, and he will do a demonstration, very quick run of the features of GS Suite, how you can schedule backup, and we'll show some of the coverage reports that you have. Give me just a second.
Thank you, Anton, and let me know when my screen is.
Yes, we can see a screen. Thank you.
Visible, yeah. Thank you for coming to this webinar. As Anton mentioned, our product G Suite is a very versatile product, and it is the product that helps to complements the Microsoft ability to restore your whole PWA. What I wanted to show is how do you back up and then restore the specific parts of that PWA, and later I'll go to show you the coverage reports that we have. So in terms of the scheduling, the backups, we have the ability to schedule multiple different backups in different time intervals, and with the later configure different retention policies for them. And if when you are scheduling the profile for the backup, you can do that for the daily or weekly, monthly type, and create an appropriate configuration for it. And that would allow you to include any of the content that's supported by G Suite. So that could be the PWA configuration, that could be your projects, that could be your SharePoint sites, and also the timesheets as well. And on every backup that is made, regardless whether it's a manual backup or it's a scheduled backup that you've once configured, you will have the email on completion, and that email will be receiving all those notifications about G Suite. And regardless of the backup status, so is it a backup that completed successfully, or there were any problems with the backup, or it didn't complete due to problems with credentials, for example, you will receive all those notifications. And that could be a group email. If you have a group of people in your organization who are responsible for managing those solutions, that's where you can configure it, and yeah, all of those information will be available to them. In terms of the restore, so once you have the backup and you have the need to restore the backup, you can search for a backup in G Suite. We have these abilities. You can check for a specific project name. You can search for a project by part of its name, or for a site by part of its name. And once you found the backup, you have the ability to restore it on a very granular level. So in terms of the content, that could be your PWA configuration, like all of it, so some part of it, or some individual element from the entity, like one custom field or one enterprise project type, or something like this. If the configuration was in any way corrupted, you can restore it to the previous version. For the projects, you can also do the restore independently. This is totally fine, and you can restore one project or the other. Then on the sites, you can also do the restore of the sites independently, but in addition to that, it is possible to restore the part of the sites, like the document libraries or the lists, whether they are native or custom, and you can restore even individual documents or individual entries in the lists. So those are the capabilities of the G Suite in terms of the backup and restore. And in terms of the coverage, so once you have the backup configured and you want to understand like how well is your data protected, you would obviously check the notifications that you receive, and also the coverage reports that we have. And we have two types of coverage reports for projects and for the sites. And they show you the number of backups that they are present for the projects, the last date of backup, and the last modification date for the reference. And they will show you if you have any projects that do not have the backup. So in your PWA, if such projects exist. And then you can go ahead and find some more details about this. We have, for the projects, we have the coverage heat map, which would show you the details. Like, this is the time when all of my projects were backed up and they were all completed. In case if there were any projects that were incomplete, like that were failed, that backup of which was failed, that would be indicated in here. And if there were like individual backup project with the backup, they are also visible in this heat map. And for the SharePoint coverage, we'll also provide a similar table, and there you can see all of your SharePoint sites with their number of backups, with their last date of backup, and also the last modified date for the SharePoint site. So it is possible to understand how good is your data protected. Like, do you have all the necessary backups, all the necessary information to restore the data if you wanted to. And that is also the capability of G Suite. We're happy to help you. So we describe all this in our training sessions. We have our support team who is helping every customer with the problems that they might experience, help them to restore their respective content from their backups. So that's what we do. Thank you for your attention, and now back to you, Anton.
Thank you, Glenn. Okay, perfect. So as a summary, FluentPro provides a solution for data protection of Microsoft Project Online environment, PWAs. As quickly to reiterate, we can protect all your data, both project and SharePoint content. It's all included, and in G Suite, you don't have to have a separate solution for SharePoint backup. It's part of it. It's integrated and it's tested to work and provides a needed protection. With help of FluentPro G Suite, you can minimize downtime, and you have a plan for human errors that from time to time happens in our environment. You can optimize your configuration and amount of data that you have for reporting. So it's a very, very important aspect that your reports will run faster. You don't have the old data. You don't have to apply additional filters. So that's also critical, and G Suite can help that. And what we do not cover today, we talk about the backup feature. We have a huge number of administration features in G Suite, like you can clone PWAs, you can move the data, which part of it we use for archival feature. You can run specific reports for configuration analysis. You can do the bulk edit of information. You can do all the different migration scenarios, compare configurations, automate development, test, and production environment updates and lifecycle. So FluentPro G Suite is more than just a backup. It's a full solution for administration, data protection for Project Online. Okay, and This solution is on the market for several years, for like 3 or 4 years. We have we have more than 100 customers who use that, small and large. We have anywhere from like 30, 40 projects to customers who have 8,000 projects in their PWA who protect their data. We make thousands of daily backups in the system. Largest backup that we did was about the 1,500 projects. It's one time, and we process terabytes of data per month, uh, every month. Uh, with backup, with our solution, you can protect data. You have full flexibility to schedule daily, weekly, monthly, and on-demand backups as you need. We offer a free edition for companies to start. It includes 25 projects and sites in one PWA. We have full edition. It starts again like from 25 projects, but with administration feature, the price is $2,000 and like typically goes after that with a step of 50 projects. The biggest differentiator is that you can restore single element from your PWA, single project, single document, single list, and there's a number of reports that you can provide the coverage in Power BI that using the Power BI. So if you have any questions, you can always contact us uh, and get back to us. You can always get back to us, and we're more than happy to answer all your questions. Thank you, and have a great day.